Morning, YouTubers. It's Jeff from Indiana Preparedness here. I haven't put a video out in a while, and I didn't want to get out of the habit or the skill set of doing it, so I thought I'd throw a quick video out and talk about a topic that to me is something that I've always kind of warred with, and that is meeting new preppers, meeting new people who are into preparedness in your local community, and sort of growing your network of preparedness allies, I guess you could say, or I've also heard it called MAG, your mutual assistance group. And a lot of people, their MAG is just their close friends and family, and that's great. But a lot of times people would like to expand that group into other areas of the community, maybe meet people who are more medically inclined, shall we say, and things of this nature. There's always different skill sets with people. The more people you know, the greater of a pool that you have that you can draw on, and the more you can provide yourself, your experience and your knowledge to those folks. So there's a lot of good reasons to expand your preparedness group within your local community, but there's also a lot of risks. There's also, a lot of threats. Security operations is, of course, probably the biggest concern when it comes to expanding your preparedness group. So, on that note, 9 times out of 10, from what I've seen, people expand their groups. They start online. They start on a Facebook group. They start on, maybe a chat forum or something like that to, you know, introduce themselves to people locally and say, hey, I'm looking to grow my network. Would you be interested? From there, after a good time of give and take and getting to know somebody online and things of that nature, then you meet in person. And from there, you sort of grow the relationship and show them what you have, and see what they have, and compare notes and all that good stuff. And you develop a level of trust. And that trust is key, right? Trust with a capital T. You must have trust. So, a couple of things that I wanted to throw out there, a couple of warnings to watch out for if you are in the mode to expand your local prepper group, is the first. We'll start with that online interaction. And a lot of times you can get a really good feel for somebody by talking to them online, looking at their social profiles, looking at the things that they've posted, things of this nature. I am pretty, I play things close to the heart when it comes to online, and who I follow and who uh, I allow to follow me when it comes to social media. So as soon as I start to say, hey, this person looks interesting, they followed me on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, um, I might want to follow them back. And the first thing that I do is I scroll down through their wall, their tweets or whatever, and I see what kind of things that they've posted in the last 6 months or longer. And if I don't agree with a lot of what they're saying, then I won't follow them back. If they are focused on the same things that I'm focused on, I'll go ahead and follow them back, right? Because it looks like we're going to get along. So you can start to feel somebody out online about what kind of person they are, and if personality wise, an interpersonal relationship, you're going to be able to develop that and grow that. Right? So that's online's the first step. The second step is meeting them in person. And of course, if you negotiate a time and a place to meet them in person, you want it to be during regular business hours, preferably busy business hours, and in a very good public place, so that if you're not backing yourself into a literal corner or down a dark alleyway meeting somebody. You want it to be very public, and you want it to be cordial. Hey, cup of coffee. It can be casual. Cup of coffee. It can be lunch. Whatever. Right. Sit down there and talk to them. And one of the things that I've seen meeting somebody online is, or meeting somebody in person that you've met online, is it kind of doesn't matter how long you've known that person on social media or on the internet. Once you meet them face to face, when you're sitting there actually looking at them in the eye and you start talking about whatever it is that has brought you together, whatever topic or interest has brought you together, in this case, preparedness, then all of a sudden just like the floodgates open and you talk to them about so much more. It's kind of funny. We are social beings. A lot of us are introverts, but still, when you meet somebody face to face, that can really expand the topics, and you get excited about stuff, and you really, if that connection is made, then it just opens up the floodgates and you talk about so much more. And that in and of itself can be rewarding, and that's growing that trust further. So that's sort of the progression, right? And that can take weeks to months. On that note, there are a couple of types of people that are out there who say they want to meet you and add to your network that you kind of got to watch out for. And I'm going to talk about two of them specifically that are definite red flags. And the first one is what I call the mooch. So, and I've seen this a couple of times. I've experienced it almost. But the mooch is somebody who wants to do just that with you. So everybody knows that a certain level of preparedness is requires finances, requires money, right? And time and effort to achieve. You have to throw a little bit of time, money, and effort into it to achieve. And there are people who don't necessarily want to do that. They want to take a shortcut, right? They want to use all of your stuff. I'm going to come to your house if anything happens. Well, so they're not really preppers. Oh, they may have a bug out bag that consists of a handful of power bars, a couple of bottles of water, and a cheap knife from Walmart, and go, there, I got a bug out bag, but I'll just come to your house. Is that okay? No. No, that's not okay. You need to develop your own plan and establish your own gear first and your own supplies and skill set before you show up at my front door. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people out there who want to network and leverage your resources, but have an offering, a comparable offering in hand when they do it. On that note, I've got a good friend who said, well, I'm just going to come over here because I have a storm shelter, a safe place to go during a storm. And he's like, well, I'll just come over here. And I'll be like, oh. And he's like, oh, I'll tell you what, I'll bring a case of ammo. Okay, sounds good. So if the negotiation goes well, if they have something to offer, a like in value offering, then okay. If you're fine with that. But the mooch, the one who doesn't really have anything to offer, who just wants to take your crap, no, you got to watch out for those folks. And that leads me to the second person, the whole taking your crap. There are people out there who, let's just say they have a little bit more of a criminal intent in mind. And they will target people who are prepared, who are into preparedness, who maybe put themselves out there, who discuss firearms or knives or other gear and equipment. Maybe you've got a nice expensive generator that you've posted about on social media and things of this nature, and they want that stuff. And so you have to be careful about those. And again, they will reveal themselves by the fact that they might not be prepared at all. They just might want your stuff. So those are two red flags you got to watch out for. Usually you can peg those people in the online phase when you're talking about swapping preparedness ideas and what skill do you have, where'd you learn it, what's a good resource for purifying water. If they can't answer a lot of those basic questions, or if they just ask you about what those questions mean, then yeah, you're probably dealing with one of those two types of individuals. And I would step away. And when I say step away, if the red flags are there and you know that this person is really untrustworthy, two or three mouse clicks on social media and they disappear from your life forever, right? Block them, lock down your profile, your social profile, learn how to do those things, and those people gone. They just simply cease to exist, and you don't have to deal with them anymore, and you can move on. So, um, on that note, another thing I'd like to address when you are in those negotiation phases on if this person is trustworthy and if we are going to have a successful interpersonal relationship when it comes to preparedness. One of the things that you want to make sure you are on board with is the level of preparedness and what you are preparing for. When I talk to preppers, I'm a very low key prepper. Uh, and what I mean by that is that I only prepare for weather events, disruptions that basically I've lived through already, disruptions that we may experience, disasters that we may experience here locally, whether it's a brief social interruption from a protest that might have gotten out of hand to, again, a tornado, blizzard, ice storm, whatever. These are the things I prepare for. And then the person that you've met online may be somebody who prepares for total financial collapse, right? We hear that a lot. Another pandemic or something that's going to be long term, maybe even a EMP or some kind of nuclear exchange with a foreign adversary. Things of this nature, which that's a whole nother level of preparedness. And so if me and this other individual, if we try to form that relationship and try to network together and be part of each other's network, that we may have conflict. He may, look at me and go, "Man, this Jeff guy, he just doesn't get it. He only has a month worth of food. That's just ridiculous. He's not going to survive." And I might look at the other individual and go, "Man, they're not getting it. They're too over the top. They're too doomsday preppy for me, and it's going to cause an issue that may be better off just not not really forming that connection." Excuse me, just bout of COVID. I'm just kidding. I don't have COVID. Not really COVID. But so that's one thing to look out for, the level of preparedness. And that doesn't mean that you can't share prepper ideas with this person. You don't have to cut off all friendship or all ties or whatever with that person. Just you probably don't want them in your close personal network, right? You probably don't want them in your mutual assistance group because trying to work with them and trying to hash out things about I want to go to your place or you want to come to my place. Uh, um, Store some of your gear here. I'll store some of my gear there. Whatever, right? That's probably not going to work. That's probably not going to work out. Another thing that's going to cause that type of conflict, and man, do I hate talking about this crap. I really, really do. But it's politics. We, like it or not, we live in a country that is really very divided these days, right? I think that we can all agree with that we are divided. And you've got your liberal Democrats and you got your conservative Republicans, and the preparedness activities they span both groups. This may come as a shock to some of you, and I apologize, but there are liberal Democrats who do prepare for disasters and disruptions and things like this. I am not saying I'm a liberal Democrat. I'm not. Okay. But I've met them, right? And they are good people. I've met some extremely good people in the preparedness community who are liberal Democrats. And they have the same wants and fears and desires and concerns as, the more extreme type um, right-wing conservative Republicans. And that's fantastic. Not to get too much into it, but we're all Americans. and we all have these same concerns. And if you get a liberal and a conservative that are more on the moderate, in the moderate, can meet in the middle, can do what's called negotiation, right? And compromise, and all these other words that we don't hear in politics these days, then you can have a successful, I'm going to say it, a successful friendship between the two parties. You can have that. I know that's going to blow a lot of people's minds out there, and I'm sorry to knock at that door of nope, can't happen, but it can, right? It is in the realm of possibility. That said, if you're too far apart, if you start talking to somebody online and you're just talking about preparedness and things are going great, and then it switches to politics, and if you're just too far apart, then that's going to cause that conflict in your networking, in your group, and it's probably not going to work out. So you may have to go your separate ways. Doesn't matter if it's in your next door neighbor or whatever. If you're just too far apart in this very divided country, it's probably just better to separate and go your separate ways. And you can do that in a polite fashion. As they say, if you can't say anything good, don't say anything at all. But you can just look at this individual and say, you know what, we are too far apart. I wish you luck in all of your endeavors, but I think that we should part ways. That's all that needs to be said. You don't have to attack them, call them stupid for what they believe or who they vote for or whatever. You don't need to do that. You can just say, sorry, but we just don't see eye to eye in these things, and so I don't want to cause a conflict in trying to work with you as far as your preparedness plan or my preparedness plan. And that can be done. It really can. So, on that note, just be careful when you're meeting new people and discussing your preparedness plan and forming that relationship with them. Be safe, follow that process, take your time. If there are too many yellow flags or red flags, diminish the contact or break it off altogether. Again, if you meet somebody who is an end of the world doomsday prepper who is on the other political bent of you, on the other political side, but you kind of get along, you might not want to invite them into your network, your local network of people that you meet with, but you might still want to have those online interactions. You could still sit here and say, hey, you know what? I found a new water purifier, and I know you were looking for one for your day bag. This water purifier is very compact. It's very cool. Give it a try, you know. And you can bond over preparedness without getting into politics or without getting into the level of preparedness, right? These are the things I strive for, and I think that in the preparedness community, everybody should really strive for. Because ultimately, we want to survive and then thrive and or recover after a disaster. And it's not a bad thing to do um, with other preppers who might be a little bit less your political sway or might be a little bit more intense when it comes to their preparedness. So, as they say, be kind to one another. We are all Americans. I know a lot of people don't have the same vision as others when it comes to America and what it means to be a patriot, what it means to be an American. So if you bump up against somebody who's like that when you're trying to meet and expand your network and your group, just again politely say, good luck. I wish you well. But by all means, this is the priority. Stay safe in those meetings, right? Stay safe in your interactions and stay safe in your meetings. Stay safe in your meetings. All right. On that note, step that down off my soapbox and uh, just be prepared and be safe and take care. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a big fat thumbs up. And if you like what I'm doing here, please be sure to subscribe And don't forget to hit that good old-fashioned notification bell too. Thank you.